For 6 years, from 1960 to 1966, Carlos Castaneda served as an apprentice to a Yaqui Indian brujo, or sorcerer, named Don Juan. During those years, Mr. Castaneda was a graduate student in anthropology at the University of California at Los Angeles. His experiences with Don Juan led him into a strange world of shamanistic lore and psychedelic experience and adventures in what Mr. Castaneda calls states of non-ordinary reality, some of which were frightening in the extreme, and all of which are fascinating in the extreme. His experiences with Don Juan are recounted in a book which has been published this year by the University of California Press, called The Teachings of Don Juan, a Yaqui Way of Knowledge. Mr. Castaneda is with us here at KPFA today, and has agreed to discuss the book and his experiences with Don Juan. Let me begin by asking you how you managed to meet this remarkable personality, Don Juan, and can you give us some idea of what sort of a person he is?
I met Don Juan in a rather fortuitous manner. I was doing at the time, in 1960, I was collecting ethnographic data on the use of medicinal plants among the Arizona Indians. And a friend of mine, who was my guide on that enterprise, knew about Don Juan. He knew that Don Juan was a very learned man in the use of plants, and he intended to introduce me to him, but we never got around to do that. One day, when I was about to return to Los Angeles, we happened to see him at a bus station, and my friend went and talked to him, and then he introduced me to the man, and I began to tell him that my interest was plants, and that especially about peyote, because somebody had told me that this old man was very learned in the use of peyote. And we talked for about 15 minutes while he was waiting for his bus, or rather I did all the talking. And he didn't say anything at all. He kept on staring at me from time to time, and that made me very uncomfortable, because I didn't know anything about peyote, and he seemed to have seen through me. After about 15 minutes, he got up and said that perhaps I could come to his house sometime where we could talk with more ease, and he just left. And I began to search for him. I didn't know where he lived, but I found out later where his house was, and I came to see him. So I came various times, and we developed a sort of friendship.
About how old a man was he when you met him?
Oh, he was in his late 60s, around 69 or something.
Now, you identify him in the book as a brujo. Can you give us some idea of what this means?
The word brujo is the Spanish acception, and it could be translated in various ways. In English, could render as sorcerer or witch, medicine man, or herbalist or curer. And of course, the technical word shaman. Don Juan does not relate or does not define himself in any of those ways. He thinks of himself that perhaps he is a man of knowledge.
That's the term he uses,
He uses
man of knowledge.
A man of knowledge. Or one who knows. He uses that interchangeably.
Does he have any formal livelihood? How does he earn his way in the world?
I wouldn't be able to discuss that. Rather, I don't think that I could at the moment.
Now, one of the things that's most impressive about the book is the remarkable chances that you seem to have taken under Don Juan's tutelage. That is, he introduced you to various chemical substances, some of which clearly, I suppose, could have been fatal if they had not been used carefully. How did you manage to work up sufficient trust in this man to down all of the concoctions that he put before you?
The way the book's presented, it seems to heighten some sort of dramatic sequence, which is, I'm afraid, not true in real life. There are enormous gaps in between in which ordinary things took place that are not included. I didn't include them in the book because they did not pertain to the system I wanted to portray. So I just simply took them away, you see, and that means that the gaps between those very height states, whatever it is, since they are removed, it seems that it's a continuous crescendo, this kind of sequence leading to a very dramatic solution. But in real life, it was a very simple matter because it took years in between, it took months passed in between them, and in the meantime, we did all kinds of things.
Now, the heart of the book, at least as far as my reading was concerned, certainly the most fascinating part of the book, has to do with your experiences with what you term non-ordinary reality. And many of these experiences, as you recount them, have a great deal of cogency to them. That is, they are experiences that seem to come very close to demonstrating the validity of practices like divination. And then on the other hand, you have experiences that at the time seem to have been tremendously vivid experiences of flight and of being transformed into various animal forms. And often you suggest a sense of some ultimate revelation taking place. What sense do you make of these experiences now as you look back on them all? What seems to have been valid about them, and how was Don Juan, do you feel, able to seem to control or predict what these experiences would be?
Well, as far as making sense out of them, I think as an anthropologist, I could, the way I have done it, I could use them as grounds for set up let's say, a problem in anthropology. But that doesn't mean that I understand them or use them in any way. I could just employ them to construct a system, perhaps. But if I would view them from the point of view of a non-European man, maybe a shaman or perhaps a yaqui, I think the experiences are, or they are designed to produce the knowledge that reality of consensus is only a very small segment of the total range of what we could feel as real. If we could learn to code reality or stimuli the way a shaman does, perhaps we could elongate our range of what we call real.
I see. Do you have any plans of ever seeking out Don Juan again?
No, I see him as a friend. I see him all the time.
You still do?
Yes, I do. I'm with him. I have been with him lots of times since the last experience I narrate in the book. But as far as seeking his teachings, I don't think I would. I sincerely think that I don't have the mechanics.
Well, the outcome of your experiences with Don Juan is a really fascinating book. After reading it myself, I can certainly recommend it to the Pacifica audience. It is an adventure in a very different world than we ordinarily live in. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Castaneda, for making this time available to talk about the book and about your adventures. This is Theodore Rozak.
Thank you.